I'm Lady Yoga, and this is Yoga Quickies, although we're slowing it down a little bit. But basically, this is where we give you what you want to know about yoga or fitness in like 5 minutes or less. But today, I'm very lucky to be in Columbus, Ohio at Yoga on High with two of the most beautiful souls I've ever met, Jasmine and Marshall Miller, who is the founder of Yoga on High. And we were just kind of having a little bit of a powwow about being of service. And when I reached out to Yoga on High to do an episode of Yoga Quickies, it was the day after they had the stabbing at OSU. And I said, what do you guys do to conserve or preserve your space and be of service to other people that might be suffering through the trauma of just being aware of it? I mean, watching the news, you could just watch the news and find out about a kid being killed or anything in the world, and you can feel that sort of reverberation, you know? So these masters have agreed to join me and kind of share with us some tidbits of their knowledge with us and how to preserve our space, whether we're teachers, practitioners, or just human beings. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so honored. And I don't know who wants to begin talking about anything, whether it's a big event.
You mentioned the stabbing. I actually taught that night, and I had people in my class that had been on campus.
Wow.
And I have a son that goes there.
Okay, so this is huge.
So it was personal for us.
Yeah.
And I taught in the room next door, and everyone was jarred because everyone had been watching the news, of course, and we did grounding, 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 and relaxing, and grounding, and grounding.
Right.
And then something about finding our strength through that, so that we didn't feel at the mercy of someone who's deeply disturbed.
Yeah.
And I also thought about, we also are working now with some policemen in our area, and I thought about, I mean, there probably were 100 first responders there. They came in from all the communities, and I thought, what are these guys doing tonight? I bet they're not doing yoga, not most of them. And can we build in our communities? That's one of the reasons we're working out to the first responders. We're reaching out to the first responders. I want those first responders to be able to go home and chill their own nervous systems so they can go back the next day and be great first responders.
Right. And if they're not, what would you recommend for them to do if they've never been in a yoga room? What are certain tips that you might have? Because, I mean, listen, even you've been teaching for a really long time. I don't know how you've been teaching. A long time. Yeah. There are still going to be, and people, there's kind of a myth about yoga teachers. It's like, we always keep it together. And sometimes you can see a yoga teacher like show their cracks, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I love it. My first yoga teacher was off her rocker, but she was incredible because she would keep and hold the space when she was in the room. But it's nice to kind of know that, you know, your yoga teacher, any teacher, can hold that space. Yeah. But how is it that they can then keep it together, hold that space, and be able to teach and be of service to other people? What are things that you might do? Might have nothing to do with yoga.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite practices that is super simple and anyone can do is the Soham meditation. It includes the breath. And it helps people connect with their breath, and when we're connecting with our breath, then we're automatically soothing the nervous system, which is what we want to do, and we're finding that peace and that calm. And it's as simple as on the inhale, so, and on the exhale, hum, and it's an internal mantra, so you're not saying anything, you're just repeating that in conjunction with the breath. And even doing that for 1 minute, 1 minute.
That's good. You can do that while driving too.
Yeah, you can just shift it, you know. So.
And it is I am that is me, and it's being that connected, right? I mean, that's how you.
That's the
connecting with yourself and connecting with others. I love that. Simple.
So simple.
Y'all can do that. Come on.
Yeah, anyone can do it. So it's like it's so simple, and so I think that's one of my favorite practices. Also, a simple legs up the wall at the end of the day. You know, putting yourself up against the wall, legs up the wall, perhaps putting some kind of sandbag or a blanket over you, and that sense of grounding, that sense of earth, the element of earth can come in to help you feel safe. Yeah. And you know, one of the other beautiful things is being in community, being in a safe place, in a sanctuary, in a yoga studio with friends, and surrounding yourself with people that make you feel safe and that bring you that sense of it's okay. Yeah. We don't even have to feel safe, but that finding that place where there's some level of okayness,
Right.
even amidst the crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not talking Ben and Jerry, guys. We're talking about like your neighbor and.
Yeah, exactly.
Although there's an element of.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but too
Yeah,
much
good.
of that
yeah.
just adds to the problem.
Yeah.
Not that
exactly.
sometimes isn't a good plan.
Everything in moderation. is
Yeah,
what they say?
I usually
Yeah.
say legs up the wall before your wine.
Yeah,
And
because
then
if you do
because
it
if you
with
go to the wine first,
You're never gonna
it
do the
interrupts the rest of your
Exactly.
life, and that doesn't work for everybody.
yeah,
So legs up the wall first, maybe you have wine afterwards, maybe not.
yeah. And these are
Maybe you don't need wine.
That's what I mean.
Exactly.
That's what I
There are
mean.
times where
It's
I'm
not a
like
need.
unraveling, and I'm like, what do I need? I mean, and this is, I mean, back
Yeah.
in the day when I was still drinking wine, but when I was drinking wine or smoking cigarettes back in the day, where it was like that was my quick fix. You
Yeah.
don't need a quick fix, and sometimes there is a quick fix. Legs up the wall and a few deep breaths goes a long way. And now I joke about it that I'm smoking yoga cigarettes. Like when I came in here and I was like running to get
Yeah.
here, I was like, hold on, let me take a minute. And then, like, that's my thing,
Yeah.
you know, because
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
simple deep breath, even laying down,
Mhm.
lay down in the car for a moment, that can solve a lot of, you know, craziness.
Well, and you reminded me of the idea of sighing. Sighing is so important. Like just a deep inhale.
Exactly.
You know, and just let it out, and
It
just
goes
it
a long
goes
way.
a long way, and it's our own natural response to stress, and
Yeah.
we contract. So things that help us find less tension in our body, less contraction, and
Right.
that's one way that we can
You feel it instantly.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that you'd like to add
Yes.
to those? Okay.
Legs.
Legs.
Move the legs, move the legs, move the legs, move the legs,
Tapping.
move the legs, move the legs.
Okay.
And Peter Levine, who's done a lot of work with somatic work in relation to trauma,
hmm
shaking, anything you can do to move your nervous
Mhm.
system when you're
Just
upset.
wiggle it out.
Wiggle it out,
Yeah.
shake it, and then we have standing poses, we have simple leg movements, you can
Mhm.
even do this in bed. It looks like not very much,
But
right?
yeah.
But if you're lying in bed and you're pointing and flexing your
Mhm.
feet or moving this way and that way,
Tapping.
it energizes your legs. It helps you to know where you are.
Yeah. I've even seen in yoga classes where you crunch everything up and then you relax.
Yeah.
It is a softness,
Yeah.
and they do that in meditation too. I know you teach meditation,
Yeah.
where it's just like do this and then relax and then breathe and body
Mhm.
scan where you're like, where does it feel weird? Where does
Body
it?
scanning is so awesome.
It's so
Yeah.
great. And you actually, I mean, you know, Yoga Nidra, which I know you guys do too.
We
Yoga
do.
Nidra is a long process, and sometimes you don't always have 90 minutes or an hour to do Yoga Nidra.
Yeah.
But you can just like take 5 minutes and just kind of say, where am I feeling tense? Can you soften? How many times are we holding our body like, I don't need to be clenching my booty right now, but I am. And I don't need to keep a long spine and to keep soft shoulders. So
Yeah.
even
Just
just
to
checking in.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. And then we were also talking not necessarily about a traumatic experience or something that happened to you, even if it's like someone cutting you off in traffic, that's an instant hardening response.
Yeah.
But even just the craziness of the world that we live in today, you know, being a mom, having a job, finishing a project, there's a lot of that stress. So how do you manage your day to day when you have like the to-dos, there's like no pockets of time? How do you find a pocket?
So, I mean, this is what we do in Ayurveda as well. It's a huge part of making sure that we have daily practices, daily routines that are like pillars in our life. When we have those pillars, no matter what else goes on, you've done those practices. So for me, it's definitely meditation. 15 minutes to an hour, depending on where I am. And then something called self oil massage or abhyanga. This is like one of my favorite things
Yeah.
that I would have everybody do. The skin is the largest organ in the body, and you basically take organic cold press sesame oil or coconut oil or sunflower oil, depending on your own type or constitution, and you apply it to your body. And you sit with the oil on you for about 15 minutes and just let it sink in. And it's like nourishment for your body, but it is amazing at creating ojas, which is that natural vitality, that ability to withstand stress. And it creates a physical protective barrier of your skin, but also a psycho-emotional barrier of the skin. And so no matter what you meet in your day, you've had this time, you know, to be still, to meditate, and then to have this beautiful oil help support and nourish you from the outside in. and the meditation nourishes you from the inside out.
Right.
And so that formula for me is one of my morning rituals that I have to do. Like it just has to happen. I have other healthcare rituals I like to do, but those two from a stress
Like
standpoint.
the Real Housewives? No.
But
we were talking.
we don't even know what that is.
That's a
probably.
good thing. That's a good thing. But we were even talking about touch and
Exactly.
the power
And
of
to
that
do
touch.
the oil on you.
Yeah.
You're touching
Incredible.
yourself. And I remember in your first Ayurvedic training, a student that we both know posted on Facebook. She said, "I'm learning to love myself. I had no idea because, of course, most women in our culture have body awareness images. This woman happened to already be beautiful and hadn't noticed, but." She, by taking the time to massage herself every morning, she was like, I'm seeing my worth as a human being.
Yeah.
And what could be more important than that?
Yeah.
Because when you see your worth, you will make time for yourself.
Right. And working with people in recovery too. I mean, recovery from eating disorders, something that I had suffered with for many years.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing you want to do is be in your body. So yoga is a constant reminder to be in the body, whatever that body is for you today, because it's always changing. Everything in here is always changing, but you have that that keeps you stable. Also, I think you sort of mentioned it, but setting an intention.
Yes.
And not necessarily like it can just be a word or phrase. It could be a mantra from Sanskrit, a Buddhist mantra. It could just be, you know, leave room for the space between words, the space between bites, the space between thoughts. It can be someone else. I remember when when someone else is suffering, or when you're like, I have nothing going on. I don't even know what to put the intention on. Well, my friend is having a hard time. I'm going to think of my friend April today, and for some reason, anything that happens to you that day, you know, like someone cuts you off, it doesn't affect you so much because everything you're doing is for April that day, you know, so you just kind of let it all go, and you're like, nope, not going to be mean, not going to be angry, because today is about April, you know, so having an intention is also really
And that goes
powerful.
beyond intention to dedication, which I'm sure is
Like,
why we're all doing this anyway.
Yeah.
We're dedicating our lives to this practice and the service of this practice out in the world. So.
Well, and you're a rock star. I mean, you've been doing this, you know, for so long that I'm like, so what are some of the things that you do to, I mean, because you've had a little bit more time where things can get to you.
Yeah.
How do you take that step back and just say, I'm here to serve? You know, what is it? It's compartmentalizing, as one of my clients calls it, and I love that.
I'm trying not to compartmentalize. I'm trying to do the opposite, which is integrate everything.
Okay.
And so I've had, actually, this year has been very rough. Several elders of my family died, including my dad.
Okay.
And by paying attention and doing the body awareness meditation and my own meditation and other practices, I realized I'm not capable of serving in the way that I normally do. So we work together to say, what can Marcia do where she can be of use, but she can't do, like, I couldn't do spreadsheets. Sorry, I'm running a business, but spreadsheets was not something I could do. But I could spend time one-on-one with people. So I took on more private students, did less spreadsheets, handed those off to Jasmine and my other partner, and it took a while. Yeah. It took a while. And to recognize that and be okay with that.
That's the most important thing. And also having those people around you that you trust and you love. I mean, a lot of us, you know, they'll just take on more stuff because they think that that's what they're supposed to do. They'll bring on more people in their life when it's like, you can, maybe compartmentalize is not the right word, but you know, have yourself surrounded by the people that you love and that you work well with, instead of the people that might be a little bit more.
And that's part of what we've done here in this community. We have really, and I'm sure many yoga communities are like this, but we have agreed as a big community to step forward when someone else needs to step back when it's our turn to step back, and we are learning, we have learned and are learning better and better how to do that, so that when someone's in crisis, they're not expected to do their normal load. Yeah. And that's
a family.
Human. That's human.
It is a family.
And it doesn't have to mean you're born family, guys. I mean, you can create
chosen
a
family.
Exactly, a chosen family.
Yeah.
You know, it might not always work with your brothers and sisters. Am I right? So sometimes you need to create that family around you and surround yourself with the people that help you love yourself a little bit better, so you can be best of service. Let's wrap up with any other tips you might want to add to share with our audience about how to preserve yourself, conserve yourself, and share
keep
yourself.
moving and keep lying around.
Ooh, I like that.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
hum.
Yeah. So hum
Yeah.
is one. The Abhyanga,
I love those
you know,
routines too.
Routines, yeah.
That is the one thing, as a teacher and an Ayurvedic educator, like I still am like, can you just listen to, get the routines. You forget your meditation practice, you forget to have those routines, and you'll start to unravel. So start setting them now, or start practicing with her, okay? Thank you guys so much. It's been really a pleasure. And hopefully this is of service to you guys to really like check in with yourself so you can really be the best person that you can for yourself and the people that you love. So it's been an honor to be here at Yoga and High in Columbus. Thank you guys so much for joining me. For Yoga Quickies, Lady Yoga, thank you so much. Subscribe below. All of their information is down below. Let us know if you have any questions, anything you are working on in your life and your practice, and we'll hopefully be able to deliver it to you in 5 minutes or less. So this is like not a yoga quickie, it's like a yoga extension. That's the new one. That's the spin-off of the show. Thank you guys. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.